It's White Sox baseball on WGN television, and the Sox look to win the third of a four-game series. Hello again, everybody. Steve Stone along with my partner Tom Paciorek, and things are going pretty well here in Minnesota, as the last time the Sox were here they got swept in 4. With Chris Sale going to the mound tonight, you'd have to think things are going to be that much better. Chris has been great all year, but he appears to be getting better with every start.
That's right, Stoney, and you got to like your chances if you're a White Sox fan. Sox have played 2 very good ball games, and when you got their ace going out here on a Saturday night, you got to think that Chris Sale would have an advantage over a Minnesota lineup. But he's so funky. He's got that great fastball, a terrific slider, and a great changeup, too. So he's got 3 overpowering pitches that he'll be using. He has been red hot all season long. His record could actually be a little bit better had it not been for a couple of tough no decisions. But there you see it. Last 3 starts, just brilliant, and that is typical what we have been seeing from Chris Sale all season long.
Well, there's a lot of ways to win baseball games, and one of the tried and true ways is to get on the board early, and that's exactly what the Sox have done.
Well, the Sox have been very good, 35-19 when they score first, and they did exactly that on Thursday night. A great hustle play by Adam Eaton. He scores on a single by Alexei Ramirez. That put the Sox on the board, and they never looked back in that game. And on Friday, it was a tremendous 3-run homer by Jose Abreu that put the Sox out on top, and they never looked back then as they beat them 9-5.
It's a beautiful night for baseball, a little humid. Last night, 5 home runs in this ballpark, something you don't see very often, but it's lively here in Minneapolis. And stay tuned for baseball. Ceremonies, and 3 great players going into the hall. Big Frank Thomas, you know about, with Greg Maddux and Tom Glavine. But it also has a managerial flavor, and Tommy, tell us about those guys.
Well, there were some great ones. You know, you look at Joe Torre, Stoney, and I'm not so sure he doesn't belong in the Hall of Fame as a player as well as an outstanding manager. Of course, we know about all the great work he did with the New York Yankees. Joe just terrific at his job. And then, of course, there's Bobby Cox. the legend of Atlanta. You know, I played for Bobby for 2 seasons. Actually, I didn't play for Bobby. I was with the Braves for 2 years, and he had the foresight, the aptitude to release me twice in the first month of that season, and I still respect him because I still think he's one of the great managers of all time. And, of course, Tony La Russa played for Tony for 4 years, a very intelligent manager, a little bit different from Joe and Bobby, but he still got the same results.
There's 8 world championships among these 3 guys. They won over 7,000 games. It's well-deserved. It's going to be a wonderful weekend in Cooperstown. And hopefully the Sox can turn this into a wonderful weekend here in Minnesota. Live Sports. Tonight's game's available in Spanish on your SAP audio setting, provided by 97.5 FM. ESPN Deportes, Chicago's first and only Spanish-language sports radio station. On a beautiful night for baseball, Alejandro Diaz has decided to make a fashion statement. He's going to take bottom part of his baseball pants and put them over his shoes, which might hurt his speed a touch. Did you ever do that, Tommy?
No, I was slow enough as it was. I didn't want anything to affect it. I'm sure he'll come to his senses here shortly. But how about this, Tony? That shadow, you think it's going to be tough to see Sale? As you look at, that's what the hitter is going to be basically looking at. It's going to be tough to see both pitchers, but when you got the stuff of Chris Sale, real tough on Minnesota.
Well, from a personal standpoint, I believe that the shadows aren't quite as bad as they should be. But let's take a look at the Mazda White Sox lineup and how Robin is going to line them up tonight. Adam Eaton leading it off with Alexi Ramirez in the 2 spot. Then Jose Abreu at his 30th home run last night. He's the designated hitter tonight. Diane Vicieto at right. Paul Konerko at first. Connor Gillespie, who's been hot at third base. Tyler Flowers hit a line drive rocket for a home run last night with Alejandro Diaz and Gordon Beckham rounding it out. The defense and how they'll line up behind Logan Darnell, who's making his first major league start, but not his first major league appearance. Willingham, Santana, and RC in the outfield, with Plouffe, Escobar, Dozier, and Colabello in the infield. Kurt Suzuki, the rumor mill just grinding away about him and possible trades. He's behind the plate. And Logan Darnell on the hill. AAA this year, 5-5, the ERA. 3.43 in 17 starts. He's not overpowering. Tommy, when you're facing a fairly soft-tossing left-hander, you have to make any adjustments?
Well, I think so. I think you better think about going up the middle in the opposite field, especially in these shadows that we're seeing right now, and accidentally pull them. Because mainly you look at a guy like Darnell, and he's going to try to throw that changeup away to the right-handed hitters, trying to get him to roll over on that top hand and get weak ground balls to the left side of the infield.
The umpires for the game tonight. Brian Gorman behind the plate. Jeff Kellogg is at first. Tony Randazzo at second, and David Rackley is at third. David Rackley had a very good game behind the plate last night. Very few of the players, if any, had any difference of opinion with his calls. And so Adam Eaton is going to lead it off. He's 4 for 11 in this series, hitting .284 overall with a home run and 27 driven in. And Darnell with a quick visit with Trevor Plouffe at third base, obviously talking about the bunt possibilities with Adam Eaton, but the way he's been swinging the bat, he doesn't figure to lay one down to start off the ball game. Outfield fairly shallow, shading him toward left center field in the first pitch of the game. Fastball in the outside corner for a strike. And that evens the count at 1-1. Shadows are very tough this time of year in a game that starts just after 6 o'clock.
Yeah, this is when you wake up in the morning if you're a hitter and you want a cloudy day. Real cloudy day.
Looked at a curveball and the count goes to 1-2. Game time start 6:11, 86 degrees. Winds out of north-northwest at 19 miles an hour. Easy ground ball right at Dozier, and he'll throw it across and make the play. So let's take a look at tonight's picks to click. The crew went with the long-panted Alejandro Diaz. Tom/Hawk went with Paul Konerko. And I decided to go with Alexi Ramirez on the heels of a Titanic home run he hit last night.
He did. Got a high breaking ball from Correa.
That'll bring up Alexi hitting .283 with 9 home runs, 44 driven in, and he shortens up to bunt and takes one off the plate.
What are you giving Abreu a little break? His back, you've been riding him so hard.
I know. I'm going to back off tonight because it's a 6 o'clock start.
He needs a little rest.
And he's the DH tonight. Other than that, he'll probably do very well. Outfield straight away. And it's hit right at Plouffe. So 2 hitters, 2 ground balls, and Darnell is doing what he has to do. He saw last night's game. There were 5 home runs hit. Ron Gardner told us when you and I were standing down there that this is the liveliest this park has been. You can go a long time without seeing 5 home runs in the same game, and that's a 3-run homer in the first inning, which made it 3-0 at the time. And the Sox were never headed after that. Jose steps up at .292, the 30 home runs, the 77 driven in. And he hits a little chopper. Plouffe with some time gets it across in a very easy 1-2-3 inning. So we'll move to the bottom of the first with the Twins coming to bat. Danny Santana leading it off, and Brian Dozier in the 2 spot. Then it's Plouffe, Colabello, Willingham, Arcia, Suzuki, Nunez, and Escobar rounded out. The defense, and how they'll line up behind Chris Sale. It's Diaza, Eaton, and Viciedo in the outfield with Gillespie, Ramirez, Beckham, and Canerco in the infield. Tyler Flowers gets a nod behind the plate, and Chris Sale on the hill looking for win number 10. He's 5-1 this year, 5-1 lifetime with a 2.42 ERA against the Twins. You've seen Danny Santana now. This is the third game. What do you think of him?
I like him a lot. He showed power from the left side of the plate. He hit that 2-run homer in the first game of this series. But he looks like he can play. Looks like he can play center field too. And as you pointed out, he's actually a shortstop, and he will be playing shortstop next year for the Twins once his legs heal.
Sitting .323 with 3 home runs, 18 driven in. He looks at a fastball over the inside corner. So a good switch hitting shortstop with a strong arm and the ability to switch hit from both sides very well. He's got to be a huge addition to this everyday lineup.
You notice the sun went in? No shadows on the field right
indeed.
now. Oh, come on.
Santana hitting .349 right-handed. Good straight change, and he goes down on strikes.
He gone. That's nasty right here. Well, that change. Look at the location. The arm action is perfect. He thinks it's a fastball, and it kind of completely falls out of sight. About 12 miles an hour off of his changeup. What do you think is the best speed ratio off the fastball for a changeup?
I'll get to it after I tell you that Brian Dozier is coming to bat, and he's 0 for 7 in this series, hitting .235 overall with 19 home runs, 47 driven in. We've seen a lot of guys with harder changeups now than they've ever been before. I personally like the idea of anywhere from 9 to 11 miles an hour difference between the fastball and the change, so a hitter doesn't have a chance to adjust.
You know, it's interesting, Stoney, because I heard the exact same opinion by when Tom Seaver was talking with Jerry Kuzman, two of the great pitchers. They said 9 to 11. Exactly what they said.
I was listening to that conversation.
You were there too?
Back when you were, what, 4?
Something like that.
Dozier with a good cut, fouls it straight back. Count stays at 1-2. Dozier's property of the Twins. They drafted him in the 8th round. They developed him, brought him to the major leagues, couldn't find a position. Finally, they settled on second base, and he's an all-star. Takes that off-speed slider and chops it foul.
He has had success against Chris. 4 for 13 with 2 long ones. 4 RBIs, too.
Not too many guys have those kind of numbers against Chris Sale.
Well, that'll tell you he can hit a fastball. He's a good high ball hitter, too.
Into center field, and Adam Eaton a couple of steps back. He'll make this play easily. But that gives you some sort of an idea about the wind and how it's going to play into tonight's game, because that ball was hit okay, not great, and Adam continued to shift back on it. So the wind at 19 miles an hour will take the ball towards center field, meaning like to keep a few of them down, although center field here is pretty tough. It's 411 to the little triangle in left center, 403 to the triangle in right center. But right center's Death Valley in this ballpark. That brings up Trevor Plouffe. Good straight change. He's hitting .243. 7 home runs, 45 driven in. He's 1 for 4 in the series.
We talk about that changeup. You don't usually throw the changeup on the first pitch unless you have a great one, because you're not changing up off anything.
Easy ground ball right at Gordon Beckham. So yet another very easy 1-2-3 inning. We'll head to the top of the second. There is no score. at WGNTV.com, sponsored by Jeff Vukovich, your local nationwide insurance agent serving the area for 36 years. To join the nation, visit JeffVuk.com because Nationwide is on your side. Dan Viciedo, 4 for 10 in the series, hitting .241 overall, 12 home runs, 37 driven in. Big night last night. He was 4 for 5. And he looks at the first pitch strike, and that's exactly what Darnell's going to have to do. Try to get ahead of Sox hitters.
Ooh. Came on the inside corner there.
You think that over-the-top motion gives him any more deception?
No, to me, it looks like you're a standard dart thrower out there. I don't think he's got a whole lot of deception. He's got to be pinpoint with his control. But there's a little bit of funkiness to him, not even close to what Chris Sale features.
He did come up, throw 3 innings against Cleveland. They were scoreless innings. That's one of the reasons why they brought him up to make this start. That one fouled off to the left.
Well, not being a hard thrower, I would say he's got to do what he did in the first inning, get all 3 hitters to roll over and hit weak ground balls to the pull side of the field.
That's what he did in his major league debut. That was back on May 6th. It's those 3 innings of work that convinced Terry Ryan and Ron Gardner that he might be able to take this emergency start. He got him with a good hard breaking slider inside.
There you see it. Boy, just eats him up inside. Good tight spin on it, you can see. So Tank trying to move his hands and pull his hands in, but that pitch was way off the plate. Unhittable.
That'll bring up Paul Konerko, hitting .216 with 5 home runs, 19 driven in, getting his first action of the series. Sox took the first 2 games, playing pretty good defense, scoring early, and a lot of offense against a beleaguered Minnesota Twin pitching staff. They're dropping like flies on this staff.
Well, the one thing about the Twins, when they bring in a bullpen guy, he's got pretty good stuff. So the Sox really need to get ahead in this ball game. Keep those good guys out of the pen. We have not seen Perkins yet.
That's usually a good thing,
yeah.
Seeing as he's a closer and one of the better closers around. And the count with that straight change. 1-1 on Paul Konerko, outfield straight away, infield with a shift. And a good straight change again. And you see, this is unusual. We don't see them shift that much on Paul because he does use right field pretty well.
Mm-hmm. And you used to never see a right-handed hitter play a right-handed hitter that much to pull. It's always lefties.
That one down. Dozier playing on the third base side of second. Blue very deep at third. He's in bright sunshine. There you see the shadows and what the hitters have to deal with. And if the sun, which is playing peekaboo with the clouds, does not go back in, Chris Sale would love this type of visibility.
Right there. You know, remember in the 70s, whenever they played a 5 o'clock game in Anaheim, there was always Nolan Ryan on the mound.
Seemingly.
So Ralph Garr was leading off for the White Sox. 3 fastballs, couldn't see him, swung at all of them. They got back to the bench, and the dumb other hitters said to him, "How's he throwing, Ralph?" And Ralph said, "This game is over." And he was right. 18 strikeouts and 1 hit later. I mean, just rack them up. Nolan Ryan pitched, it seemed like every time during those conditions.
Nolan Ryan was tough enough to hit with regular visibility,
yeah.
let alone a whole lot of shadows.
5 o'clock.
Full count to Paul with Connor Gillespie in the on-deck circle. Another good straight change, and his second strikeout of the inning and second strikeout of the game.
Well, that's good arm action. It looks just like his fastball coming out of his hand. Paulie, a very experienced hitter. That ball is on the inner half of the plate. You see, he opens up just a little bit. See that front hip flies open. You see his belly button. So Darnell wins that battle.
Brings up Connor Gillespie, hitting .319, 4 home runs, 37 driven in. And the outfield shading him a step toward left center. He looks at a fastball away. Kyle Gibson was supposed to make this start. Former first-round draft pick, 22nd pick overall in 2009, but Gibson had some back problems. He tried to throw on Thursday, wasn't feeling 100%. Ron Gardner said there's no way we're going to run him out there, and that's when it fell to Darnell to take this start. A little better curveball than we were told he has. He's so far getting it over the plate.
He sure is.
And he's a 6th rounder back in June of 2010. Line drive, base hit. That one caroms off the sidewall, and Connor will take a big turn heading to second base as Arcia cannot get it in time. Connor Gillespie continues to do what he's been doing all year, which is hitting it right on the button.
Yeah, that great swing right here. He pulled his hands in and was able to keep this inside fastball fair. You see where he's setting up? Boom! Boy, his head right there on contract. Watch his chin. Right on the back shoulder as he finishes it. Nice full swing. That's beautiful. Posting up on that front side, as we talk about so often.
24th double of the year for Gillespie. That'll keep it alive for Tyler Flowers. Hitting .239, 6 home runs, one of them coming last night. And he's driven in 31. Short lead at second. They're not paying much attention to him.
I'll tell you, that ball Tyler hit last night was one of the hardest hit balls I've seen all year. Facing that second deck, and it got there in a hurry.
Yeah, you're not going to see many quicker home runs. A little like the Abreu home run in Oakland, only it didn't go quite as far, only because it was stopped by the facade of the upper deck.
Yeah, bricks will do that for you. There it is. Bang! Hits the casino sign. Well, you pointed out too, Stoney, that he's swinging the bat better since he's got these new glasses.
I think he's seen everything a whole lot better. You see hitting .522 over the last 7 games. Tough enough to hit when your eyesight is really good. When you have any type of distortion at all, you're going to have some big problems. Right up the middle, a base hit. Here comes Gillespie. Here comes Santana. The throw. Not in time. It gets away, and Tyler Flowers on his way to second base. So Gillespie scores on RBI number 32 for Tyler Flowers.
Nice job by both Gillespie and Flowers. Great job of base running. But I'll tell you, Super Joe McEwing was waving those arms like a windmill, and Connor Gillespie turned the corner very nicely. There's a pitch away that Flowers stays right on, fires it right back through the middle. Connor gets a good jump. The throw by Santana is very quick, just up the line a little bit. And of course, Tyler Flowers, who runs extremely well, especially for a big guy, gets to second base easily. So good all-around play by the Sox, especially with 2 out.
Single RBI, error 8. And the Sox on top 1-0. Brings up Alejandro Diaz, hitting .232, 5 home runs, 28 driven in. He's 1 for 7 in the series. Tyler Flowers now 4 for 9 in the series. Once again, as in the first 2 victories, the Sox break out on top.
Yeah, and the Twins, once they fell behind these first 2 games, a little bit lackluster. And when you got to catch up against Chris Sale, that's not going to be an easy job for Ron Gardenheimer's crew.
Fastball misses away, and the count moves to 3-0. Gordon Beckham in the on-deck circle. Takes one on the outside corner.
Oh, we have a moment, Stoney. I want to wish a very happy wedding day to my nephew, Bubba McDaniel, Mark McDaniel. We call him Bubba, and his lovely wife, Andrea. I want to wish them a very happy wedding day in lieu of an expensive gift, as usual.
That's what I understand.
Good old Uncle Tom.
Well, look, it's the least you can do, and we know that that's what you'll do.
Yes. No, my whole family's there except me. It's kind of a Polish-Italian affair tonight. It's going to be really big.
You have a job to do sitting in for my partner, Hawk Harrelson, who's away on some family business. And he gets them, but not before the Sox score a run on 2 hits. They leave one. We head to the bottom of the 2nd inning. It's 1-0. Bottom of the 2nd inning, Chris Sale with a 1-2-3 first will face Colabello, Willingham, and Arcia. Colabello 1 for 4 in the series, hitting .237 overall, 6 home runs, 38 driven in. Interesting coaching situation for these Twins. We got Sam Perlazzo at first base. He is coaching in place of Paul Molitor, who's at the Hall of Fame induction ceremonies. Good fastball thrown right by him. Ron Gardner knew him pretty well because he was his roomie and Sam Perlazzo managed him when they were in the Mets.
It's funny. It's kind of like myself and Bobby Valentine. Whoa, just a bit outside. Sammy doing his, as we pointed out, his Al Pacino impression.
Well, there's a look at Scott Ulger, who's the new third base coach. The reason he's third is he's taking over for Joe Vavra, who has a torn labrum in his hip. He's going to have surgery. They're recommending they do it sooner rather than later. Hard hit, but right at Gillespie. He throws it across and makes the play. 4 up and 4 down.
And White Sox fans, you come out to U.S. Cellular Field for free T-shirts Monday. On Monday, August 4th, the first 20,000 fans will receive a Jose Abreu T-shirt. Watch for the Sox as they take on the Rangers at 7:10. Tickets start at $7. To purchase, visit whitesox.com/Mondays.
Josh Willingham looking out at Chris Sale. He's 2 for 7 in the series, both hits coming last night. He hit his 10th home run of the year, driving in his 29th run. That coming in the 9th inning, a solo shot. And a line drive base hit to right. The first hit of the ball game for the Twins.
Well, that was a 95-mile-an-hour fastball that he inside-outed. That, I mean, his hands came through before the barrel of the bat. Great job of hitting by Josh, who seems to be swinging it better as the series goes on. Right there, watch it. It lets that ball get a little bit deep, even though it's inside. But he got the barrel of the bat on the ball. Nice job.
And with a lot of teams looking for right-handed power, if they watch him the last couple of days, looks like that swing is coming back. And you know that Terry Ryan would love to make a couple more deals if he could, building for next year and beyond. And Willingham is one of those guys. So fastball for a strike to Oswaldo Arcia. He's 2 for 7 in the series, hitting .225 overall, 7 home runs, 20 driven in.
Well, Willingham would be attractive too to a team, and this is the last year of his contract, so it's run out at the end of this year.
Count goes to 0-2. Chris Sale dots the outside corner.
Well, yeah, got to have some guts to go in that lineup. Hit left-handed against Sale. Not fun hitting right-handed against him, but lefty, geez, that's really tough. Thank you.
He threw that high fastball right by him. So the second strikeout. And I don't think that Arcia had much of a chance. If Chris stays up there on him, you're done.
No, one thing Arcia's really got to learn is to not drop that back shoulder. You drop that back shoulder on 96-mile-an-hour high fastball, ooh, you're not going to do anything.
Kurt Suzuki having a terrific year, hitting .309, 2 home runs, 41 driven in. And he's been rumored to be going a few different places. One of the places was St. Louis, but St. Louis took a different option. They signed A.J. Pierzynski. They played him in the ball game. They won that game today 6-3 against the Cubs. A.J. went 3 for 4 with a run batted in. So an auspicious debut in a Cardinal uniform for A.J. Pierzynski, who found work pretty quickly. Count goes to 2-0. Suzuki against the Sox this year, hitting a robust .452. 7 driven in 8 games. And there's a whole lot of guys wearing White Sox uniforms on the pitching staff. Wouldn't mind seeing him get traded to the National League.
Yeah. Well, he's a good player. And he's only 30 years old. And I'm sure the Twins really want to re-sign him. But if they can't, and his contract's up at the end of the season, you might as well deal him if you can't keep him for next year.
Well, there's Terry Ryan. Made a good deal with Kurt Suzuki. Signed him for 1 year for $2.75 million. And he lost him. So Suzuki's aboard via the base on balls. First walk of the night by Chris. That's been the unbelievable part of Chris Sale this year. When you look at all of the numbers, and they're all just wonderful. But he came in with 110 strikeouts, just 17 walks. And those kind of ratios, over 5.5 to 1, you just don't see very often. Walks to strikeout ratio.
And with that unorthodox delivery that he has too, it's really amazing that he could command his pitches as well as he does.
Eduardo Nunez steps into .265, 3 home runs, 16 driven in. As you can see by that on base percentage, if he doesn't get a hit, he's really hard to walk. Runs at first and second with 2 outs here in the second inning as Chris Sale delivers a high change. Nunez, 3 walks, 117 at bats. Takes it right back at Chris, who makes a nice grab on the one hopper, keeps it out of center field, and ends the inning. So the Twins leave a pair. They come away scoreless. It's a 1-0 game heading into the top of the 3rd inning. Lead it off in the top of the third inning. He's 2 for 9 in the series, hitting .224 overall with 7 home runs and 29 driven in. Twins play him straight away. Gordon looks at one off the outside corner. That ball slicing and into the seats. But the count evens at 1-1. There's some great stories developing and great races, and that will have a lot to do with the trade deadline, which comes up Thursday at 4 p.m. Eastern time. One of them is Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay has won 8 games in a row. They're 50 and 53, 7.5 games out of first place, and a little closer in the wild card. Everybody talked about David Price, and would they make a deal for him? Well, as you can see, with Tampa Bay starting to play great baseball, I'm not sure they want to talk about Zobrist or David Price. That one down the line and just foul.
Absolutely not. Hold them right there. That's a no-sell situation. Joe Maddon's going to think of a way to get them to probably the last week of the season with a chance to get in the playoffs. There is no way you can make a move with that team, especially at David Price. They really regret that because they control his contract next year.
And that really leaves one top-level left-hander out there if anybody wants to go get John Lester of the Boston Red Sox.
Right.
Because he also is a free agent. He said something really interesting, something that you just don't hear many players talk about. In the wintertime, they offered him $70 million for 4 years. He didn't think it was enough, especially after looking at Zach Greinke and $159 million for 6 with the Dodgers. That being said, he said he would be open. He knows it's a business, to being traded and still consider coming back to the Red Sox if they wanted him. And Gordon goes down on strikes with the same inside slider that Darnell used to strike out Viciedo.
That's 4 strikeouts already. And that's a good pitch. And down and in off the plate, it looks like a fastball. Sounds like a fastball. Turns into a slider late. That's a late mover right there, which is going to be a big weapon for him. So far, that's got to be his best pitch.
And Adam Eaton takes it right back up the middle for a base hit. It's his 5th hit of the series. That was an off-speed pitch, and he was able to wait back on it.
Yeah, location not that good. That's just a spiral. That was not the vicious slider that he threw Viciedo and Beckham. Kind of a roller, a spinner. You see that one right out of his hand. It's got that little, you know what it's like, don't you, Stone?
I've thrown a few of those hangers, both curveballs and sliders. Lexi Ramirez grounded out the 3rd in the 1st inning. He took a look down at Joe McEwing, who gave him his set of signs. And Adam Eaton has swiped 10 bases. He's been caught 6 times. How difficult is it for guys who have speed to learn the intricacies of a move, how to read it, how to go on first move for a left-hander, and look at the deception on right-handed pickoff moves?
Oh, I know. It's tough. You got to really study the pitcher. And, of course, they have scouting reports on him, and you look at film on him, as a matter of fact, too. Against the lefty, I like going on first move. Make that first baseman throw you out. Oh, boy. He looked like he was leaning on that one. But, you know, and in all due fairness to Frank Thomas, God bless him, he's the greatest hitter of all time. But there was the smart teams, again, when they had we had a left-handed pitcher, would go on first move and make Frank throw him out at second base.
But there's been a lot of very good first basemen that didn't throw very well.
Yep.
Sox have been very fortunate. Paul Konerko very accurate for a long time, threw exceptionally well, and Abreu throws pretty well. So we've seen Jose make some very good plays at first base, and if your first baseman doesn't throw well, you can force a move and outrun the play at second all day long.
Well, the thing about Frank, he had that long arm delivery, and you can't do that. You got to throw like a middle infielder. You got to have a short, compact stroke, if you will, almost like a catcher when you're throwing to second base. Can't be long, because you lose control of that as well.
It also is a whole lot easier for a left-handed first baseman to get an angle on the throw than it is for a right-handed first baseman.
Yeah, first base was kind of made for a left-hander.
Line drive, base hit to left. Adam Eaton rounding the bag. He's going to 3rd, and the throw comes into second base. So runners at the corners, only 1 out. Adam knew that Willingham doesn't have much of an arm, decided to take advantage of it.
Boy, that's a great move right there. Most guys are not going to be that aggressive. But the first thing you know as a base runner is you know the outs. Then the second, you know where the outfielders are playing. Adam knew that Willingham was not going to get there. And watch this speed. He never hesitated. Round second, clips the bag, and he is in there easily. Thinking about going home. And Willingham certainly did the right thing. He throws to third, and Lexi might be at second base right now.
Brings up Jose Abreu, who grounded to third to end the first inning.
And plus, he gives Abreu an easy RBI opportunity with that runner at third.
Looks at a fastball in the inside corner. The outfield is straight away.
Deep, you think?
And justifiably so. Very deep. Dozier playing him up the middle at second base. There's a huge hole on the right side. They just as soon take away his power if he decides to go that way.
Well, don't be surprised with 2 strikes if he doesn't hit one in that direction.
Well, there's 2 strikes. 2 called strikes.
Now he's got to fight. Now he's got to drive in that run. This is where he really shortens up. He'll get jammed now and then.
Working on a 15-game hitting streak, hitting .365 over that streak with 3 home runs, driven in 8.
Well, if I'm this guy, I throw him that hard slider in. Darnell, that's his best pitch so far, Stoney, to the right-handed hitter off the plate, not a strike. You got 3 pitches to work with here with a great hitter.
He also a pretty good catcher who usually blocks low pitches in Kurt Suzuki.
Mm-hmm. This is a big run.
Short lead at first. And that ball hit well to left field. That's going to score Adam Eaton easily.
Look at that carry.
So Willingham drifts back, gets a throw into second base, and Alexi in ahead of the tag. So RBI number 78 for Abreu on the sacrifice fly. And heads up base running by Alexi Ramirez.
Yeah, he knew that ball had such hang time it was going to be caught. But bad pitch by Darnell. He laid this one right over the middle of the plate and down. He's lucky that he didn't put up a 3 spot on that pitch. You see Lexi with the great hustle. Running the bases extremely well this year to go with those 17 stolen bases in 20 attempts.
That call by Tony Randazzo. Dozier wanted him out for coming off the bag because he kept the tag on him, but Randazzo said no.
And that's why it's so important too for Adam Eaton to really hustle from third base, because the throw goes to second. If he doesn't score before the tag's applied, that run doesn't count.
Right down the line, foul for Viciedo. Was a strikeout victim last inning. It's a 2-0 game. Sox have out hit the Twins 4-1 so far. Twins have made the only error of the game, that coming on a throw by Danny Santana in center field. Line drive left field, but Willingham right there. And he makes the catch, but not before the Sox add to their lead. They score 1 on 2 hits. They leave 1, and we'll head to the bottom of the 3rd inning. It's 2-0 Sox. who's got himself a 2-run lead. There was another trade that had a former Chicagoan moving on, and that was Jake Peavy going to the Giants from the Red Sox. I think the Red Sox did a pretty good job in that one because they got a left-handed pitcher named Edwin Escobar, who MLB.com says is the second best prospect in the Giant organization, as well as Heath Hembree, who was the 11th best prospect, and they got some of the money Jake is owed that went along in the deal. So Brian Sabean needed a starter. They figured that Peavy, even at 1-9, will benefit from that ballpark in the National League, in a division with 3 gigantic pitchers' parks. So he'll also move into a pennant race. And that fastball for a strike. Escobar hitting .271 with 3 home runs, 21 driven in. Like Santana is a switch hitter. He skies that ball to right field, and Viciedo calling for it. Moves into the bright sunshine and makes the catch.
Well, one thing too you mentioned about Jake Peavy, he's not afraid to pitch in a big ball game. He's very courageous out there. He'll battle you tooth and nail, and even though he's 1-9, his attitude will never change. He's always been a great team player too, so that'll help in the clubhouse. But as you mentioned, I think the Red Sox really made out on that deal by getting 2 good young arms.
That's how you make deals in this situation. Trade to a contender and get a little piece of tomorrow for a whole lot of today. And the Giants certainly feeling the pressure, if nothing else. They realize that that's a very good baseball team in the Dodgers, and they're going to be hard pressed to hold them off. Right now, San Francisco comes in a half game ahead of Los Angeles. By the way, Yasiel Puig last night had 3 triples in one game.
Yeah, he can really run.
There you look at the standings. San Diego obviously out of it with Arizona and Colorado. They're all sellers at the trade deadline. But Brian Sabean is a great general manager, has been for years. You figured San Francisco would make a deal. I believe they'll make another one before it's over. And the Dodgers are starting to get healthy. So a 3-1 count on Danny Santana, who was a strikeout victim leading off the ball game. That ball over toward the line, and Diaz coasting over in fair territory makes the catch. If you were approaching Chris Sale, let's say you had an at-bat, not at your age, but when you played, you had to hit against him, what would you do?
Oh, man. Well, I'd have to look for his fastball. I don't know if I could. I hated the slider down and in, which he's got. I know I couldn't hit that one. And the changeup off of that fastball, I couldn't. I'd have to take my chances with #1.
And hopefully he would throw you one in a hittable spot.
No, I hope he would hit my bat for me, is what I was thinking.
Yeah, he's been just overwhelming this year. And he's going to face Brian Dozier. It's 0 for 8 in the series and drives it foul down the line. That's the last 12. 6-1, the ERA 187. 91 strikeouts, 13 walks, and opponents hitting 194. Who is in his class in all of baseball as far as left-handers are concerned?
Well, you'd have to consider Kershaw and David Price. I think they're the only two. And you mentioned, we talked about John Lester.
And John Lester might be just under those 3, but he's pretty good.
Yeah, he's real good.
But I believe, I like David Price. The 2 best left-handers in baseball are Clayton Kershaw and Chris Sale. Kershaw is just overwhelming, and Chris's stuff, right-handed, left-handed, really doesn't matter. He just gets everybody out. And they have opposite deliveries, too, which is kind of interesting. Kershaw directly over the top, almost Koufax-like. And, of course, Chris, elbows and kneecaps coming at you, almost submarine-like. Both are great, though. And Dozier's got some big power. Fouled that one back and probably got the pitch he was looking for, 95 right down the middle.
Tell you what, he's had good swings so far, Dozier. He's swinging better against Chris Sale than he did the last 2 nights against Danks and Hector.
Noesi threw unbelievably well Thursday night. And last night, Johnny Danks, against a team that's given him all kinds of problems, came out very aggressively. Wound up giving up 4 runs, but took the game deep, went 7 innings. And overall, when you come in 6-12 against a team with an ERA about 5.5, that sticks in your mind. And I think John put that to rest early by getting the ball over the plate and being very aggressive.
He threw strike 1. He had great command of his changeup.
He got him. Snapping breaking ball, and he strikes him out looking. So we'll move to the 4th. Sox on top 2-0.
Let's take a look at that last pitch from Sale to Dozier. Look at this. He throws this from the first base coaching box. And Brian Dozier has absolutely no chance. Look where his arm is. That ball is so far outside, and then it comes back over the middle of the plate, Stoney. Not too many guys are going to hit that one.
So you're saying that one would have gotten you?
Yes. Real easily, too.
Paul Konerko was a strikeout victim in the 2nd inning. Looking out at Darnell.
Well, the thing about Chris, he can change speeds on that breaking ball so well.
Line drive, base hit. It's a pretty good story coming out of New York, but it involves a former White Sox pitcher, one of the most popular guys ever to pitch here, Mark Burley. Did a great thing. He took out 5 rookies and went to one of his favorite clothing stores and told them to buy anything they wanted, and he would pay for it.
Wow.
And I think he said it's something that was done for him early in his career. And he took out Marcus Stroman, Aaron Sanchez, Rob Rasmussen, Ryan Goins, and Todd Redmond. And he said, guys, whatever it is, I'll pick up the check. And Stroman, who's a terrific young pitcher, you'll see him, he's 6-2, his ERA in the low 2s. He said that that was typical of Mark Burley, who was one of the most unassuming people he'd ever been around, one of the greatest teammates he'd ever been. And I know everybody who played with him in the White Sox felt the same way.
Everybody said the same thing.
That's right at Colabello. He goes to second for 1, back to first, but no chance of Darnell getting there in time.
Yeah, Mark Burley is one of a kind.
Well, that's a great tradition, and Mark was saying that hopefully some of these guys will keep that going. And it's not really a superstition, but I heard you and I had kind of the same type of superstitions. Hearing Hawk describe you, we both believed that we would be much luckier if we never paid for a check during the course of a major league season. And so I felt that tradition-wise that was something that, you know, you and I had in common.
Oh, so our motto, you mean, of if you paid for it, it cost too much?
That's what Mr. Harrelson says quite a bit.
Yeah.
Tyler Flowers drove in a run back in the second inning. Tyler with 32 now, hitting the ball better and better. He started before the All-Star break hitting it pretty well. Has continued since the All-Star break hitting it unbelievably well. And the count evens at 1-1.
Well, you know, he's seeing the ball so much better. You can see he's not opening up that front side early to try and get a peek at the ball. And so now he's waiting back. He's not rolling over like he had, hitting weak ground balls to third base. And strikeouts were a big problem.
That one chopped foul. You know, that's why hitting and pitching has a lot in common. On the surface, you would never know it. But the object of both is to stay close with that front shoulder, because for a pitcher, if he flies open with the front shoulder, it's going to be high and away. You're never going to throw strikes with it because you, what's called, give away the body. A hitter, if he flies open, can't cover the outside corner. And so staying closed with both a hitter and a pitcher is the keys.
And then another thing, oh, there's a good pitch on the inside corner. But the other thing, too, if you open up early, and that'll strike out Tyler, but you open up early, your hands come with you, and you push the bat. You can't hit an inside pitch as well. Tell you what, this guy's got his strikeout pitch going for him, Logan Darnell. Not overpowering, but that's 5.
He's yet to walk anybody. Alejandro, a strikeout victim to end the second inning. If you're just joining us, Sox scored single runs in the second and third. And Chris Sale has just held down the Twins. Easy ground ball at Dozier. And it's out of the inning. So we head to the bottom of the 4th inning with the Sox on top 2-0. By St. Xavier University. It's tradition and innovation, and this is where they meet.
I know one guy who's managing along with Robin. One Johnny Ventura, back on the west coast of Santa Maria, California. Big John, real happy the way the Sox are playing.
Well, I think Robin has done a terrific job in this series because he went out, told the guys score more runs than those other guys, and we're going to be in pretty good shape, and that's exactly what's happened. That and the fact that he got terrific starting pitching out of Nuese, very good starting pitching out of Johnny Danks, and tonight you've got your ace on the mound. So unlike last trip where the Sox got swept in a 4-game series, they're in a position to sweep the Twins in a 4-game series.
And another thing, the Sox are really swinging the bats well too. 15 hits last night. Well, 17 hits last night. 9 runs. consistent scoring. Hello.
And for Trevor Plouffe, he looks at a called third.
Strikeout number 4 for Chris Sale. Just freezes him on the inside corner. Tough to pull the trigger. 94. I think that one might have swung back, started inside a little bit, and come back over the inside corner. That's real tough on a right-handed hitter.
I think Chris is hard pressed to throw anything straight.
Oh no. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, he very rarely does it. It all has late movement. And with that delivery, he's got deception. And that fastball misses inside to Chris Colabello, who grounded to third, leading off the second inning.
Yeah, I always felt left-handers were harder to hit than right-handers because they all had a different delivery, all had a different release point. Right-handers are pretty much standard, except for very few. But Chris is even goes farther away than that. I mean, no one throws like he does.
The best description I ever heard is one of the opponents saying that it looked like the second baseman was pitching to me.
Yeah.
And a lot of times when he drops down even more sidearm than he usually does, that's what it appears to the hitter.
And that's what well, there's a good heater, 96. But that's exactly what Dozier had to be thinking when he punched him out last inning. Like that ball was coming from Beckham.
4 strikeouts, 1 walk for Chris, who's given up just the lone base hit to Willingham in the second inning. That ball hit hard, but Adam Eaton's got some room as he drifts across and he makes the catch.
Hey, Sox fans, join us on Wednesday, August 20th for Dentistry Night. White Sox are offering specially priced tickets to all dentists, hygienists, assistants, and dental school students, as well as their families and friends. Also, the first 750 fans to purchase will receive a Dentistry Night baseball cap. To purchase, visit whitesox.com/dentistry. And you know Dr. Jack Ruby and his Angels will be there, won't they, Stoney?
There's no doubt.
Well, we really don't care if Ruby comes, but the Angels are
he's
priority.
One of the more loyal fans. He'll stay his 4 innings and fall asleep and someone drags him out.
Dr. Jack.
Josh Willingham, who has the only hit. And there's a lot of scouts everywhere we go. We see them before the game. They're here taking a look at the teams who are obvious sellers and just exactly who they have and who might fit into their team, and of course what they're going to cost. It's one thing to want somebody, it's another thing where the price gets a little too steep, and not a whole lot of people are trading great young prospects these days. Now Billy Beane did it. He traded Addison Russell, traded Billy McKinney, and he got 2 terrific starting pitchers. He got Jason Hamill and he got Jeff Samardzija, but they're going for it this year. But those 2 prospects, whether they're used for trades or play with the Cubs, will eventually pay great dividends. Addison Russell is an excellent prospect, but again, Tommy, at this point they're just prospects.
Yeah.
As good as they can be, we've seen a lot of guys come into baseball, can't miss prospects, and they miss. Somehow they do miss.
It is amazing. But one thing about Willingham, if you're a scout and you say, well, he had a pretty good night against Chris Sale, that might enhance his chances of being traded. If you hit Chris Sale, you can hit anybody.
Well, Chris is yet to record an out, a base hit and a walk to Willingham, and now Oswaldo Arcia steps up and he looks at one, a changeup off the outside corner.
He struck him out on a high fastball last time.
Last year he had 14 home runs in his rookie season. 4 against the Sox, 4 against Oakland. And he hits that ball straight up in the air. Gillespie calling for it, drifts over the mound, and not without some drama, makes the catch. So we're heading to the top of the 5th. It's still a 2-0 Sox lead.
happens. Join us on Tuesday, August 5th for Police and Fire Night presented by UL. Also, the first 20,000 fans receive a 1983 White Sox reusable bag. To purchase tickets, call whitesox.com or call 866-SOX-GAME.
Gordon Beckham was a strikeout victim in the third inning as he looks out at Logan Darnell, who in his first major league start, but not his first major league game, is doing a pretty good job. He's not overwhelming. He has to move the ball around, but the scouting report we got on him was that he's not awed by his surroundings, and that's proven true tonight.
No doubt. And he's given his team a chance.
Line drive base hit to right center field. Beckham with the big turn at first base. He'll go on to second. Santana cannot get it back in time, and so a leadoff double for Gordon Beckham.
Great approach right there by Gordon. That pitch is up and out over the plate, and this is where you want to hit it, into that gap in right center where there's nobody standing. He rolls over on this one. It's a weak ground ball, but watch him stay close. See that right there? Head on that back shoulder. I'll tell you what, kids out there, if you finish that way, you have taken a good swing.
It's only a 2-0 game, so Adam Eaton with a job to do, and he can do it one of two ways. He can either try to get out in front and pull the ball, or he can bunt it right at Plouffe. Takes it right up the middle, and he will move Gordon, and they get him at first base. So he does get the job done.
Yeah, that's good enough. You don't actually have to be pull conscious. You hit it at to the left of the shortstop. That guy is going to get the third. Gordon's a good base runner too.
It sets it up for Alexei Ramirez, who's 1 for 2. This gives you an idea of what Ron Gardner thinks of Chris Sale.
Yeah.
Because he's got the infield in. He's going to try to cut off the run, open himself up for a big inning, because right now there's no angles on any ground balls in the infield. And that fastball misses low and in.
No, in this situation right here, Alexei, 284 hitter becomes about a 350 hitter. Chances getting a ball through that infield. Ooh, there's that pitch.
Another good hard slider low and in. And that looks like the go-to pitch for Darnell.
Mm-hmm. How about run expectancy in this situation? Sox 55%. Twins pitchers 69. League average is 66.
That's with the runner at third and one out.
Less than 2.
That fastball catches the inside corner. Alexei thought it was inside. That's only because it was. But that being said, Brian Gorman's been pretty consistent. He's had a fairly substantial plate. He's been a pitcher's umpire tonight.
I think so. And right now, he's got to go to his best pitch. Is that slider down and in.
That ball hit awfully hard, but hooking off the pole for a home run. That's the 10th home run of the year for Ramirez. He got out in front of it. That ball was hooking down the line, but right off the screen.
I didn't think that ball had a chance. It stayed straight. It did not hook. That's a great job by Alexei. Bad pitch by Logan. Look at this. That hard slider. It's a slider, but it doesn't have. It's kind of a spinner over the inner half of the plate. He's had his most success on the pitch down and in off the plate. And as you can see, that ball is clearly fair. Lead with that front side, that front elbow. Pull those hands in, and that's a great job of hitting.
46-run batted in for Ramirez. His second home run in as many nights after not hitting one for a month. And with this heat and humidity, it still is very lively in this ballpark. So the double by Beckham. Good job of getting him over by Adam Eaton, and then the 2-run homer, so he scores from anywhere on that. And Alexei now 2 for 3. Soft breaking ball, and he strikes him out.
Sixth strikeout. You don't get this guy too often with 2 strikes to be way out in front like that. But he broke out the real slope curveball here. He hadn't thrown that one yet. That was almost an eephus pitch.
Brings up Diane Viciedo. And for those folks who might know or not know what the eephus pitch is, Rip Sewell was the guy that invented it. Basically, you throw it straight up in the air and hope it comes down in the strike zone.
Yeah. And Ted Williams, remember, hit that famous home run off him in the All-Star game. But a good friend of mine had a version of that. Remember Dave LaRoche?
Yes.
David threw the lob. Adam LaRoche's dad. What a good guy.
That one just missing down the line.
And Dave was a coach for the Sox in the 80s with Jeff Torborg. Great guy, but he called it the lob.
Dave was a pretty good pitcher, and his son can hit a lot of home runs. Left-handed first baseman. He got him. But the Sox come away with 2 runs on 2 hits. And we'll move to the bottom of the 5th inning, and Chris Sale and the Sox lead 4-0. In Escobar to face Chris Sale, who's trying to become the first Sox pitcher since 2005 when Mark Burley did it to win 10 of his first 11 decisions. Seems like we mentioned Mark Burley's name a lot when you talk about Sox pitchers and accomplishments over the years. He was durable. He still is. A 10-7 record after getting off to a very hot start. Certainly cooled off by the Yankees yesterday. Somewhat hard to believe. Mark Burley hasn't beaten the Yankees in the Bronx since 2004. And he's been a terrific pitcher.
Oh, didn't get that backdoor curveball. Yeah, Mark, he's one of the fastest working pitchers I've ever seen. Lamar Hoyt is the one guy that stands out in my mind as a teammate who worked probably comparably fast as Mark did.
Well, there's a guy being inducted into the Hall, Greg Maddux, who worked exceptionally fast.
Oh, yeah. He'd get you out of there in a hurry, wouldn't he? I think maybe the fastest of all time could have been Randy Jones, San Diego.
Fouled off that breaking ball. The count holds at 1-2. For those of you who might not know Randy Jones, he was a very crafty left-handed pitcher who won the Cy Young Award with the San Diego Padres. Kind of a short armor. I actually faced him, and I remember they told me that he didn't come inside to right-hand hitters, so I got up on the plate, and he struck me out on 3 pitches inside.
Well,
Base hit, which is not surprising from Suzuki, who has tormented Sox pitchers over the course of his career. He drew a walk the first time up. So Chris Sale has been very good tonight, but has failed to retire Willingham or Suzuki.
In order to hit a 95-mile-an-hour high fastball, watch how Suzuki gets his hands above the ball. The only way you can do it, you drop that back shoulder, and you've got no chance at all to hit that pitch. It's a good hitter.
That'll bring up Edwin Nunez. Rounded right back to Chris Sale to end the second inning. Hits it right back at Sale again, who takes his time, gets the out at second, but the bobble made it so you couldn't turn two.
Take another look at this. Oh, yeah. It wasn't hit that hard. Chris does a good job of keeping that ball in front of him, though.
I think what happens a lot with pitchers is you have a tendency to believe it's hit really harder than it is, and so you get the glove down, it obscures your vision. And I don't think Chris saw that ball. I think it hit off his glove. He kept it in front of him, but didn't panic. Got the lead runner, which is what you're trying to do. And it brings up Eduardo Escobar. Lifted a soft fly ball to lead off the third inning. He hit it right at Viciedo. We haven't had a chance to talk about it because we haven't been on WGN, but Frank Thomas is going to be enshrined tomorrow in the Hall of Fame. He got 83.7% of the vote. And somewhat surprisingly, the first former Sox player to be inducted on the first ballot.
Yeah, that's strange. I'm sure Luke Appling went in as a Sox player. Why wouldn't Luke go on the first ballot?
At that point, I don't know. I'm not sure who was voting.
Well, those 17% that didn't vote for Frank didn't pitch to him.
Take a look at the two-time MVP in 93 and 94, five-time All-Star, World Series champion in 2005. When you look at some of the numbers, they're staggering. He's one of 4 players in Major League history with a 300 batting average, 500 homers, 1,500 RBIs, 1,000 runs scored, and 1,500 walks. One of 4 in the history of the game.
Yeah, isn't that amazing?
Congratulations to all 6 of the inductees. Should be just a great day tomorrow.
There it is.
And that slider down and in completely baffled Escobar.
He had no chance.
It's a much smaller K zone here in Minneapolis, but a small but spunky band of K zoners.
You know,
Coming fouled straight back is Santana, who's 0 for 2. Now 2 for 9 in the series. Looks out at Chris Sale. Your Frank was hurt in 85.
05.
In 2005. Sox obviously won it. And he had 23 hits, 12 of which left the ballpark.
Isn't that amazing?
Well, amazing is how strong he is.
Oh, yeah. It's a shame he wasn't able to contribute on a daily basis, because he certainly deserved to. You know, and the better the pitcher was, the more Frank nailed them. That 1 and 2 starter, 1 and 2 guys in the rotation, he ate them alive.
He got him on a straight change. So despite the base hit, nothing doing for the Twins, and we move to the top of the 6th inning. It's 4-0 Sox. AP audio setting provided by 97.5 FM ESPN Deportes, Chicago's first and only Spanish language sports radio station. So far, Chris Sale has things well in hand. And the last thing you wanted to see, losing the first 2 games of the series, if you're the Minnesota Twins, as banged up as they are, as decimated as their pitching staff has been, is Chris Sale out there on the mound as your opponent.
It's a nightmare.
And Paul Konerko, who's 1 for 2, he singled in the 4th inning, steps in and looks at a straight change for a strike. Four runs, 7 hits, no errors for the Sox. No runs, 2 hits, 1 error for the Twins. Little too much time as Paul steps out. Sox came into action tonight, 9 games in back of Detroit. The Tigers lost 1 last night. That leaving the count at 1-1. Kansas City comes into play in second place, 6 games in back of the Tigers. Kansas City tonight losing to the Indians 5-2. That game in the bottom of the 4th inning. Kansas City has a couple men on. They're threatening. Tampa Bay leading Boston 1-0. That game into the 4th inning in Tampa Bay, and the Rays are hot. That one just misses inside off the plate. So the count goes to 2-2.
You know, one of the things that Darnell is doing pretty well tonight, Stoney, he doesn't throw real hard, but he is pitching inside. Got to pitch inside. The slower you are, or the less of a fastball you have, the more you have to establish inside the heater. Not there.
Establishing the outside part of the plate yields a second base hit for Paul.
Yeah, nice job inside out hitting there by Paulie. That pitch was a mistake. High slider. Paulie's got his second hit. You can see that is just a roller, and a nice job. Watch it get a little deep. Look where his head is. That's a typical Konerko swing, isn't it? Head down, back shoulder. Very nice.
Good 2-strike swing.
Oh yeah.
I mean, when you're in protection mode, taking it that way, especially when the infield is shifted. And Connor Gillespie fouls that one off. He doubled, scored a run in the 2nd inning. I think Joe Madden had it right. His team was really struggling. I mean, they were doing nothing. He had a whole lot of guys hurt. The rotation was in disarray. And then brought a witch doctor in. And whatever the witch doctor did, as Joe Madden, as you know, will do just about anything to take the pressure off his players and get some fun back in the game. Whatever the witch doctor did, Tampa Bay is enjoying a resurgence, a renaissance, if you will. As Tampa 7 games back and leading the Red Sox tonight 1-0 as they head into the 4th inning. Baltimore on top of New York and Toronto by 3. That one fouled off to the left.
You know what you just did is made thousands of little league coaches around the country trying to contact witch doctors to improve their season. You know that?
I got to figure you have to go with the philosophy whatever works. And nobody can take the pressure off and have more fun and do stranger things than Joe Madden of the Tampa Bay Rays.
That's true.
That one line foul.
Well, I'll tell you, I told my 7-year-old Coach Pitt's baseball team that if they used this magic bat, they'd get a hit every time.
And it worked.
It just sure did. The book is in the making.
I'm looking forward to some of the galleys.
Well, you know, we're still casting for the movie, too. Precast stage.
2-2 count on Connor Gillespie. So you're going to ask Bill Murray to play you in the film?
He doesn't know it yet.
I'm sure
if he's watching, hey,
sure
Bill,
he'll jump at the chance.
Bill, you watching?
Right back up the middle for a base hit. So first and second with nobody out. And if we do get a call from Bill Murray and he wants to play Tom Paciorek, well, you've got that casted already. Now all you need is something for him to talk about.
Right.
And a script or a book.
We got that.
Good.
Bill really wants you bad. We'll negotiate at Pebble Beach when you play in that tournament.
I have done a couple of games with Mr. Murray. I will put in a good word for you, especially with the amount of money you have to spend. I'm sure your limitations are limitless.
Well, we might have to get Spielberg involved in financing.
Yes, Myron Spielberg would be more than happy to get involved. So Suzuki goes out to the mound. He wants to calm down his young left-hander. Ryan Presley loosening in the bullpen. We saw him on Thursday night. He pitched a couple of innings, threw the ball fairly well. Darnell's given up 9 hits. And he's got a whole lot of problems here in the 6th inning. It's Tyler Flowers with one of those hits and a run batted in the second. He looks at one down and in. One thing Ron Gardner did not want to do is go to that bullpen early. So Darnell at least has gotten him into the 6th inning. But the last 2 nights, Hughes went 3+ innings and Correa went 4. And they both got hit hard figuratively and literally. Line drive, fair ball. Down the line, it's going to be 2. So Paul's going to score. Here comes Connor Gillespie. He's being held at third. And Tyler Flowers has his second hit, second run batted in. And it's a 5-0 game.
Well, he was in the catbird seat. He had a 2-0 count, and rightfully so. Darnell is trying to pitch backwards. He throws a changeup, but it's right over the middle of the plate. Hands stay back. Little hang time right there by Tyler. Kept his hands back just long enough to rocket that ball down the left field line. That's what you got to do on the changeup. Kept his hands back and ripped it. Well, he's swinging the bat well.
Rick Anderson to the mound to have a talk with his beleaguered young left-hander.
And speaking of Presley, Sox fans, you can join us on Friday, August 1st for Elvis Night. Be sure to stay for the Elvis-themed post-game fireworks display. Elvis Night and fireworks are presented by St. Xavier University. Purchase your tickets today by visiting whitesox.com or calling 866-SOX-GAME. Thank you. Thank you very much.
And that'll bring up Alejandro Diaz, who's 0 for 2. 3 straight hits here in the 6th inning. And he looks at a fastball off the corner. Infield in at all 4 positions as Diaz waves at a breaking ball. Pitch number 87 on the way for the young left-hander. Base hit right field. So with nobody out, Joe McEwing deciding that he wants to hold Tyler Flowers right there, leaving runners at the corners, and Alejandro Diaz drives in run number 29. And this is starting to look a lot like last night's game, where the Sox jumped out to an 8-1 lead before finally winning it 9-5, and that's going to be it for young Logan Darnell.
Well, he's got to be pinpoint with his control, and right there, that's a high slider. Diaz keeps his hands long enough back, and a lot easier to hit with that drawn-in infield. Diving Dozier can't get there. So the Sox with 11 hits already in this ball game.
And as Darnell exits, we'll step out and be back after these messages.
For the Twins, no record. He just got here 1 game, 2 innings, 1 hit. So he's trying to hold it right there. Runners at the corners. Gordon Beckham, the hitter, and the infield once again is in with nobody out.
So Presley looks into Beckham, who's 1 for 2, doubled and scored a run leading off last inning. He fouls that ball off to the right. Last homestand, we saw the Houston Astros were very impressed by their youngster. Everybody's impressed with George Springer. Unfortunately, yes. George went on the disabled list with a quad injury. He hit 20 home runs in 61 games. He had a knee problem and then turned into a quad problem. So the youngster is on a shelf for a while. What a good young player he is.
Yeah, he looks like a good all-around player. Strikes out a bit too much, but
he's still real young.
Yeah,
and you can't teach power like that. Little looper into center field, and Santana there. Tyler tagging. He's going to score. So for Gordon Beckham, that's run batted in number 30, making it 7-0 on the sacrifice fly.
Well, he hit it just far enough. Nice job by Tyler. Yeah, the big guy just impresses me every night with his speed, and he runs the bases extremely well. He's just not a pretty face, you know. Well, you're right. He's not.
He seems to be getting pretty good, and I think the glasses are a big part of it. And with it, the rest of his game is picking up.
Yeah.
He's always called a good game. He's blocking pitches as well as he ever has now. And of course, it really helps when you hit the baseball the way he's been hitting it. So Adam Eaton, who's 1 for 3.
Well, it's interesting too, don't you think, that a catcher, you know, you'd think you'd find out about your eye problem quicker than other players. But that same thing happened to Brian McCann, though, too. So who knows?
Brian McCann, who signed a huge free agent contract with the New York Yankees. Yankees, despite having their pitching staff completely falling apart,
yes,
find themselves still 3.5 games in back. That went into left field, and Willingham started back before coming out and making the catch. I think it's been a great year for Joe Girardi. He's done a terrific job with the amount of injuries he's had. And I ask you if you had seen Dellin Betances.
Yes.
He comes out of the bullpen. He's a giant. He's 6'8". He's 270 pounds.
I know. He looks like Adam Dunn coming up to the mound.
Yeah, he's one of the guys that have really helped turn that around. His ERA 147. And the Yankees found that you build a terrific back end of the bullpen, and you're probably going to be right in the middle of the race, despite having a lot of other problems.
Yeah, not being able to score, not getting all that good of starting pitching, because Tanaka went down at the All-Star break, their best guy, and you still have a chance. You got that 8th and 9th inning guy, and they're getting it done, especially with Betances as the setup guy in the 8th.
Little looper going back and making the catch. And what a play by Escobar as he puts it away, but not before the Sox tack some more up on the board. And we'll head to the bottom of the 6th, and it is all Sox. We get into the bottom of the 6th inning. It's 7-0 Sox. Chris Sale has a 2-hit shutout going as he faces Dozier, Plouffe, and Colabello here in the 6th. Dozier 0 for 2. Fouled that one off, and he's quickly in an 0-2 hole.
Well, Chris Sale's got his ERA lowered as we speak to 1.93. That's good.
1.93 with win number 10 staring him right in the face.
Good chance.
Threw that one by him.
Boy, upstairs at 90. That was 94, but man, it doesn't look like it's faster than that because of that arm action. And Sox fans, you can join us on Saturday, August 2nd at 6:10 as the Sox take on these Minnesota Twins. First 20,000 fans will receive a Frank Thomas replica Hall of Fame plaque presented by Xfinity. Be sure and stay after the game for post-game fireworks show. Xfinity, your home for the most live sports. Purchase tickets by visiting whitesox.com or calling 866-SOX-GAME.
Trevor Plouffe is 0 for 2. The only 2 hits belong to Willingham and Kurt Suzuki. That one missing down. Slices that one off to the right.
You know, Stoney, today is Griffin Frank's first birthday. My brother's grandson. So once again, in lieu of an expensive gift, I'd like to wish Griffin a very happy first birthday.
Very kind of you.
Thank you.
Misses inside with that one.
That's from Uncle Scrooge. I mean, Tom. I'll get him later. He's young.
Yeah, absolutely.
He probably doesn't even know it's his birthday.
Sam Perlazo just barely gets out of the way of that one.
Mentioned Sammy Perlazo. Boy, he's a baseball lifer, isn't he? There's that nasty slider. Oop.
There's a look at Sam, and we'll watch this breaking ball.
Whoop. He realized that's coming around the corner. So amazingly, he makes contact. 2-2, 1 out. Jammed him. In comes Eaton. Oh, you couldn't have thrown that ball out there any more perfect than that. Great pitch by Chris Sale, up and in, which is very, very difficult. But if you're strong like Trevor Plouffe, you can fight this off. That's his only prayer. Ball got way deep in his kitchen. Alexi can't get it. Neither can Adam Eaton. So two great speedsters not able to get it. You couldn't throw that ball in there anymore perfectly. So with 1 out, there's a runner at first. And Chris Colabello will be the hitter. Chris 0 for 2. Ground out and a line out. First pitch changeup. Got it all working for him. Chris Sale from Lakeland, Florida. All 6'6", 180 pounds of him. And he gets every ounce of himself into every pitch. It's quite amazing. He's got that delivery. It's almost like a submarine pitcher, which would think would be good on his arm. He wouldn't have a whole lot of arm problems. You never see a softball pitcher on the disabled list. Good fastball right on the outside corner at 95. No one's going to hit that one. So Colabello got off to a great start to this season. Cooled off a bit. Did have 2 RBIs yesterday. Minnesota fans trying to get into it. They're averaging over 28,000 a game here at Target Field. Haven't had a whole lot to cheer about this weekend. There's a high fastball, 1-2 on Colabello. Chris now with 79 pitches. ERA, as we mentioned, down to 1.93 going into this inning. We are in the bottom of the 6th. 1 out, runner at first. Good fastball fouled off to the right. Well, you can tell the stuff of a pitcher by the reaction of the hitter. And they're not getting a whole lot of good swings off Chris Sale this evening.
No, you can understand why that wouldn't be happening, because number one, the visibility isn't great, and number two, you're dealing with one of baseball's best and a guy who not only has great stuff but is very deceptive. He got him there with a good slider and caught him looking.
Man, that is just nasty. That just keeps biting. Look at this. It looks like it's way in the left-handed batter's box, and you kind of give up on it, and it winds up on the inside corner. That is strikeout number 8.
Well, all season long, and if you look at, the comparison is Clayton Kershaw. You look at the strikeout to walk ratio, both Sale and Kershaw are almost unbelievable as far as getting the ball over the plate. And the one of the two guys he hasn't retired is Josh Willingham. Hit a base hit in the 2nd, drew a base on balls in the 4th.
Well, Josh is a big, strong guy, and I remember Josh from his college days at Northern Alabama, where he was an All-American shortstop. He could run. He could really run back then, but as you pointed out, Stoney, the knee problems that he has really has restricted him after, coming off of a great season here.
A couple of years ago when they brought him over because they needed some right-handed power, and he responded with a 35 home run, 110 RBI year. And unfortunately for him, last year was just almost a lost year because of the knee injury. He just really was never been the same and hasn't been the same since.
Yeah.
Good straight change, and that ends the inning. So we head to the top of the 7th. It's 7-0 Sox.
You're doing the things you love. Visit Athletico.com and start defining your pain-free. Please enter athlete today. Athletico, the official physical therapy provider of the Chicago White Sox. Athletico, better for everybody. Yes.
And Jose with sacrifice fly tonight. One driven in. He's 0 for 2. He's the third fastest to 30 home runs for a career in baseball history. Pretty amazing when you add up everything else he's done. But he had his 30th last night. Rudy York back in 1937 did it in 79 games. Mark McGwire in 1987 did it in 84 games. And Jose, it took 89 games here this year. Skies that one to center field. Santana will drift back a bit, but he'll make this play easily. And there's one out.
Well, here's his rank in the American League. 30 home runs, he's first. Second with 78 RBIs. Slugging first, 617. That's good. He's competing with that guy in Detroit for most of these honors, isn't he? What's his name? Miggy Cabrera?
For a whole lot of honors. That and Mike Trout.
Yeah. Trout's real good, too.
Throws it right by Viciedo, who's 0 for 3. Tank had a big night last night. He had 3 singles, a run batted in, and a double and a run scored his first 4 at bats before finally striking out to end his perfect night. Tonight, he's 0 for 3. It's gorgeous weather here in Minnesota. That one hit right at Plouffe. So he gets it across and quickly 2 up, 2 down. I'll bring up Paul Konerko, who's 2 for 3. You know, I know when you did play, you played most of the time. But for Paul, he's having to adopt this role of coming off the bench against the left-handed star. He's been the DH, occasional first base play, but getting real sparing at bats. How difficult is it to keep your rhythm both in the field and at the bat?
Well, I think it's a lot tougher for a right-handed hitter going against a tough lefty. Because, you know, as we pointed out, every left-handed pitcher is different, Stoney. You know, right-handers are mostly standardized, but lefty can be so funky that your timing element, and since you're only playing once or twice, maybe maximum a week, it really is difficult. It takes a real pro like Paul Konerko to be able to handle this job. He's done well.
And that one right at Plouffe. So 1-2-3, 7th inning. And we'll move to the bottom of the 7th. It's all Sox, 7-0. And schedule. It'll be Arcia, Suzuki, and Nunez against Chris Sale. Chris is doled out 3 hits sparingly, 3 singles. And you would think, with the swing Arcia has, does he have any chance against the high fastball?
No, not against the good one. You know, if you're throwing it in there about 87 mile an hour, he might be able to. We saw his last at bat. Ooh, there's a nasty hook. But he swung straight up at a high fastball. Hit a mile in the air. He made contact, but that's all he's going to do with the high fastball. Hit it straight up in the air, if he hits it. Oh, boy.
Didn't come close to that one. So
that's a tough at bat right there.
For the second time tonight, Arcia goes down on strikes.
And he's in double digits. Chris Sale is in strikeouts. This is filthy right here. Starts at Adam. Winds up on the knees outside corner or just outside the plate. No, actually it looked like a strike.
Well, Lloyd McClendon, when Seattle was in town, because of the configuration of his roster, was forced to start 6 left-handers against Chris Sale in one lineup and had 0 chance to beat him. That ball hit hard and fortunately foul.
Well, that's the way this series has gone, isn't it?
Last night, look, there were a lot of hard hit balls off Sox bats. However, that being said, there was also a lot of squibbers and bloopers and everything else. Otherwise, you don't get 17 hits. As you take a look at that one, and it hooks just foul. Suzuki making a bid for just his 3rd home run of the year. But he figures he's probably not going to get another pitch down the middle, so he should have made the most of that last one.
He did, yeah. That pitch was right there. Just a little bit too quick on it. Yeah, Chris will probably go in there after the game and run about 5 miles.
Right at Ramirez at shortstop, back on the grass and fires it across and gets Suzuki by a good step and a half.
Wow, 6 straight strikeouts mixed in between that one single.
Interrupted by the Trevor Plouffe single. Outside of that, one of the few pieces of contact by twin hitters recently.
Well, that Trevor Plouffe has got to be on the post-game show, doesn't he, for that hit?
Eduardo Nunez, who's tapped back to Chris Sale twice. He's just happy he's not one of the strikeout victims. Breaks his bat, loops it to left field. And Alexi backpedaling makes the catch.
Beautiful.
So 3 up and 3 down once again. We'll move to the top of the 8th. It's all Chris Sale. 7-0. 10 strikeouts, only 2 walks. 15th career game with 10 or more strikeouts, and 5th this year. And as you can see, the Twins not happy to be facing Chris Sale. Start something special with great leases and low financing on a new Honda. Visit shophonda.com or your local Honda dealer. Connor Gillespie looks at a fastball for a strike. Gillespie 2 for 3 tonight. We say that a lot with Connor because his batting average has been around 320, 325 a good portion of this year as he rips it foul down the line.
.323 as he stands in there. Well, he's got a chance to be a consistent 300 hitter with that short, quick bat of his. And as we talked about earlier in this series, he's going to hit homers too. He's going to hit them accidentally now.
Well,
I think he's a 20 homer guy.
This was a terrific acquisition by Rick Hahn.
Oh.
And he got him not as an everyday starting third baseman.
Right.
Because at the time he also had Jeff Keppinger, who didn't work out, wound up getting hurt. Because that's a one hopper off the glove of Dozier, and we'll have to see if the official scored tonight believes that that was hit hard enough for a base hit, or will it be an error?
It's like a hit to me. That ball was scalded. Tough in between hop for Dozier, who's got great hands. Oh, that's a tough play. You got to reward a guy for that.
It's going to be the third hit by Gillespie, or it's going to be error number 9 for Dozier.
I'm writing hit down.
And wisely so, because it appears that's what it will be scored as.
All right, we'll take it.
Tyler Flowers having a good night. Run scored, couple driven in, and he's 2 for 3.
Sox now with 12 hits. That's good.
That ball hit hard to center field, and Santana drifting back on the track. He looks up and makes the catch.
You know, Stoney, he just missed that ball. He didn't get all of that. And that shows you how strong Tyler Flowers is and how good he's going to be if he keeps swinging like this. He was out on his front foot. He made solid contact, but he didn't get the center. He didn't center that one. Watch this right here. It's a breaking ball. Hang time, keeps his hand back very nicely. Head is right there on contact. Good swing, but just missed it. And of course, that's a homer in most ballparks. That's 411.
Deepest part of the park, and he took it almost all the way back there. That'll bring up Alejandro Diaz, who had a base hit, drove in a run in the 6th inning. And that one driven foul by Darrell Boston to first base.
Wait, Flowers has got to be feeling real good about himself.
I would think at this point, the way he's seeing the ball, he feels like every time he goes up there, he's going to get a pitch to hit, and if he gets that pitch, he's not going to miss it, and that's the key to putting together a good, solid stretch offensively.
Well, the ball's getting a lot bigger for him now. That's great to see. The pride of Blessed Trinity High School. In Georgia.
Ball slicing away in left field. Willingham over toward the line, and he makes the catch, crossing over into foul territory.
And Josh Willingham's looked pretty good in left field. I mean, you know he can't run real fast, but he's getting a good jump on everything. He's made all the plays. So I'm sure that might be a showcase piece in itself. You can support White Sox charities and could win a brand new Mazda 3 White Sox themed car from C.J. Wilson Mazda. Ooh, there's a strike on a corner. Tickets are just $10, and you can be purchased at whitesox.com/SoxCar or at U.S. Cellular Field. $10 for a Mazda. That's a good deal. I'll take it.
Gordon Beckham fouls one off.
I guess you got to come up with the $10 first, all right?
Eventually, yes.
Frugal is what I am. All right?
You got it. Someone fouled off to the right as Gordon 1 for 2 with a sacrifice fly coming in the 6th inning. Drove in his 30th run of the year. Chris Sale, everything his way tonight.
Well, he looks worried over there, doesn't he?
Exceptionally worried. What he's worried about is where he's going to eat after the game.
He should eat a lot, too. Put some meat on those bones. I'll show him where to eat. Vinny Fresso show him.
I think right now he should probably keep it right there. Right where he is, weight-wise and everything else, because he's got a lot of elasticity in that arm.
It's amazing, isn't it?
Really is. And when he first came up, they put him in the bullpen. They wanted to limit his innings. He got to the major leagues, was the fastest in his draft class to get here. And maybe the same pattern for this year's #1.
You know, Sonny, I can't think of a guy that he reminds me of in all the years that I've been around professional baseball.
That one skied. Arcia coming in, calls for it, and makes the catch. So we head to the bottom of the 8th inning, 7-0. Eaton had a base hit with 1 out. He was on first base, and then Lexi Ramirez dumped it into left field. Eaton never hesitated at second base. He realized that Willingdon didn't have much of an arm, so he coasted to third, later to score in the sacrifice fly by Abreu. And Xfinity, your home for the most live sports, sponsors Xfinity Speed.
Yeah, that's what a great leadoff man will do. He'll get RBIs for that third place hitter, fourth place hitter by taking that extra base.
Eduardo Escobar 0 for 2. And Chris Sale still with plenty left.
Ow.
Tough play. Well, impossible play. Base hit.
Tell you what, it's hard to get jammed worse than this. My thumb is hurting up here.
And his thumb is hurting down there.
Look at this nasty. In on the hands. He tries to fight it off. That's not what Abner Doubleday had in mind when he invented the baseball swing. Look at that. You couldn't have rolled it out there any more perfect than that.
Goes as the 4th hit of the night for the Twins, all singles, and sends it to the top. Santana, who's 0 for 3 with a couple of strikeouts. Danny Santana hitting from the right side against Chris Sale. Hasn't had any more luck than the guys who've hit from the left side. Tough assignment for a young hitter, and Santana is just that. The sale can get in on your hands, and I'm sure he's watching the other hitters and some of the backdoor sliders that Chris is using. Seeing some of the right-handers just give up on the ball as it looks like it's starting way out there before it comes over the outside corner. That's just an unhittable pitch.
He throws a lot of unhittable pitches.
That one almost got him on the knee. Sweeping breaking ball. Chris with 98 pitches. So with this kind of a lead, there's a very good chance that he's going to go 8 and save him an inning of work. Good fastball. He's still throwing 95, so we haven't seen a decrease in any of this stuff at all.
And that right there shows you that Santana might be able to hit a high fastball. He had a good grip at that one. In order to hit a high fastball, you got to keep that back shoulder up.
Tried for the backdoor breaking ball and missed with it.
It's almost like a frisbee he throws up there.
Glenn Perkins, who is the closer, but closers need innings every now and then. And Chris Sale needs a strikeout, running his total to 11.
Pitch way out of the strike zone, but it looked like he might have been protecting fastball inside.
2 walks, 11 strikeouts. Dick Bremer, who is a fine broadcaster, in the booth next to us. His usual partner, Bert Blyleven, is at the Hall of Fame ceremonies, and Dick came in before the game and said the number 11 is going to figure prominently in this one.
And
I
what
said,
did you say?
I said, if you're talking about the number of strikeouts that Chris Sale will get against your guys tonight, you could very well be right.
Thank you, Nostradamus.
That is, of course, if he's not planning on striking out Dozier or Plouffe.
You got 2 more chances. Let's get a double play to get out of this inning and make you 2 great prognosticators even greater than you are.
Daniel Webb loosening up. He will most likely come into it, as Brian Dozier is 0 for 3 and 0 for the series to this point. Line drive, but it's right at Diaza, who reaches up. Didn't particularly judge it well as that ball started to take off.
Look, it had some underspin on it. Boy, he regrouped in a hurry. Thank goodness he runs fast. Chris has a smile on his face out there on the mound. Let's check him. He's a good fastball hitter. High fastball, too. And Dozier, who hasn't gotten a hit yet in this series, hang with him there.
That'll bring up Trevor Plouffe, who's 1 for 3. There's only 2 guys in this lineup tonight who have not been strikeout victims. One, you probably would expect Kurt Suzuki, because he didn't strike out very much against anybody. And the other, Eduardo Nunez, who's 0 for 3 but without a strikeout.
There's that changeup right at the knees on the outside corner.
What makes it so deceiving is the release point and the arm velocity on the changeup looks just like the fastball.
Exactly.
And a hitter can't pick it up. Not only does his leg, but his hands come forward, and then he's done. Little chopper. Chris Sale's got it. He can't get rid of it, and it turns into the second little squib hit of the inning.
Isn't that something? Now, I don't think he had a prayer on this one.
No, whether he grabs it or not, I think Plouffe.
Risking throwing it into the bullpen or down the right field line. Now here he tries to pull an outside pitch, hits it right off the end of the bat. Chris would have been better off trying to get it bare hand, but when he touches it with his glove, he doesn't find it quickly enough to make a throw. But I don't think he had a prayer anyway. So here's Colabello.
Yeah, that'll bring up The big right-hander from the Independent League, Chris Colabello, who's 0 for 3. He struck out looking back in the 6th inning. Normally, his power and his swing will take the ball to right and right center field. With that in mind, Viciedo over toward the gap, giving him the entire right field line. And he looks at a fastball for a strike. Another very good crowd on hand. Could be the biggest of the entire series. Breaking ball misses low and in. So Sale about ready to make his 110th pitch. And you know, Robin's sitting there going, look, I don't want to take him out now. I'd like to get him through the 8th inning, but I don't want him to get into the 115, 116, 117 range. Just as soon end it here in the next pitch or two.
Yep.
Checked his swing, the appeal to first base, and Jeff Kellogg says he did.
And that was a crisp 96 up and away. I'll bust him down and in with that slider.
I think Chris realizes that one way or the other, this is going to be his last inning.
Yeah. So he wants this to be the last batter.
Whatever he's got in that very thin tank, he's going to bring it out here.
Oops.
Tried for the backdoor breaking ball and had it just roll off his hand. Two on, two out in what to this point has been a Chris Sale shutout. Sox lead 7-0. And he got him. Strikeout number 12. So we head into the top of the 9th inning. It's 7-0 Sox.
MLB.com @bat on your favorite mobile phone or tablet. Get live look-ins, instant replay, scores, stats, audio, free MLB TV game of the day, and more. Download on the App Store or visit WhiteSox.com today.
But the third pitcher of the night for the Twins, and it is their closer, Glenn Perkins. Just a terrific year for him. He's 3-0, ERA 2.76, on for the 43rd time. He's got 24 saves, which for a team that doesn't win all that often is very good. 24 of 27 with a talented left-hander who started in the rotation and found a home as a closer. He's one of your better left-handed closers in all of baseball. One of your better closers overall in all of baseball. And Adam Eaton, Lexi Ramirez, and Jose Abreu to face Glenn Perkins. Little chopper. Escobar can't get to it. It rolls into center field. Adam trying to beat out a base hit all the way. Didn't see it go under the glove, and that's got to be a hit. Be his second.
Yep. He's not going to throw it out. This is do or die for Escobar. He tries to catch it with his glove hand, and it went underneath. So very little chance of throwing out Adam, who was flying down that line.
Lexi Ramirez stepping up. Base hit in the third, 2-run homer in the fifth. Our fourth drive of the game is the aforementioned 2-run homer. A low slider. Got too much of the plate. Lexi hits his 10th home run of the year. He now has 46 driven in. That one right at Arcia in right field. And he makes the catch. We have 3 Cuban-born players back to back in the lineup. Ramirez, Abreu, and Viciedo. And there was another Cuban defector working out in Miami named Rusney Castillo. 28 teams have shown interest, including the White Sox and the Cubs. 5'9", 185 pounds, 27 years old, can play some center field, can play some shortstop, and apparently has exceptional speed. So with more players coming out of Cuba these days, and a lot of them very talented,
got to take a look.
We're seeing the teams shoring up their organizations by spending a few dollars. There is no restriction on spending because he spent 5 years in that Cuban league. And that's one of the ways to do it. And as you look at Jose Abreu, that's a way to do it pretty quickly. He's one of the huge differences between this ball club of last year with 99 losses and the team this year with his 30 home runs and 78 driven in. And right back at Perkins. Jose's going to beat the play at first base. And he's got a base hit, which keeps his hitting streak alive, albeit a painful experience for Glenn Perkins.
Wow. Let's take a look at it. He's not used to pitching in these situations. Looks like it got him on the backside, so I don't think it was as painful. Although anything he hits hard. Oops. I think it was the left one.
16-game hitting streak. Actually, no, I preferred to face the hitter, really. I thought if I faced the hitter, I might have a better chance of actually catching the ball.
Yeah, good point. Fear, I think, was the motivating factor for Perkins, because, you know, you see Abreu launch one at you, you get a little scared.
Dan Viciedo has had a tough night. He's 0 for 4. And with that base hit by Abreu, which extends his hitting streak, leaves Tank the only man in the lineup without at least one hit.
Oh, look at this.
So over to second for one, back to first. An easy double play, and it's on to the bottom of the ninth, with the Sox leading 7-0.
Target Field. Sox leading at 7-0, and new pitcher for the Sox, Daniel Webb. I think Chris Sale has had enough. 5-3, 3.60 for Daniel. Hard throwing right-hander. Opponents are batting just .226 against them, giving up just 37 hits in 45 innings. The big bugaboo is those 29 walks. Tony, what can he do to lower that total?
Keep going to the mound and get older, because young pitchers have a tendency to overthrow at times, and when you do that, you fly open too quickly. We talked about that early in the game, the similarities between hitting and pitching and flying open. That happens to Daniel sometimes, but he's got good enough stuff where you would consider a closer role somewhere down the road, but to do that, quite obviously, you have to limit your walks. And so Willingham will be the first man that he'll face. It'll be Willingham, Arcia, and Suzuki here in the bottom of the 9th inning. Sox 7 runs on 14 hits without an error. Twins no runs, 5 hits, and they've been charged with 1 error. Ooh. Soft slider for a strike. And Willingham in an 0-2 hole. Willingham 1 for 2. Also drew a base on balls in the 4th inning. 1 of 2 Chris Sale through tonight. 8 innings, no runs on 5 hits, a couple of walks, and 12 big strikeouts. And we did see a couple members of the K Zone making this trip up to the north, so we called them at the time exactly what they are, a small but spunky band.
Well, I'm glad they made it.
Fouled that pitch off. Talked with Terry Ryan after the game last night. He's a terrific guy, wonderful general manager. He's had some health problems, but he says he's starting to feel a whole lot better these days. He's a busy man right now because he's fielding a lot of calls, and a lot of them revolve around their catcher, Kurt Suzuki.
Ooh. Tough call.
There's a look at Terry. And the appeal, he got him.
Oh, that's nasty right there. Ball just disappeared when it got to home plate. Look at that. Split finger pitch.
This would like you to know, because this was your era back in 1970.
Yes.
On this date, Johnny Bench of the Cincinnati Reds hit 3 straight homers off Steve Carlton.
Ouch.
2 Hall of Famers going head to head.
Wow. They were both great. Great.
That ball hit hard in the gap. Macedo going over, and he can't get to this one. So Arcia will pull into second with a double. Arcia just exceptionally happy that Chris Sale is out of the ball game.
Yes, he is.
Because he was 0 for 3 with a couple of strikeouts against Chris. You know, talking with Ron Gardner, he said that he would put the man you're looking at, Oswaldo Arcia, up against just about anybody in a home run hitting contest.
Well,
but you'd have to get the ball about thigh high for him to hit a lot of them.
Thigh high and below.
Yeah, but he said he's got tremendous power. He just has to learn how to harness that swing, and I think it's so much of an uppercut swing, he's going to have to get a swing adjustment to consistently hit the major leagues.
Right, and you saw that side view too. He really drops his hands, and he's got to get him back up a little bit quicker than that. And especially if you drop that back shoulder, you're almost helpless against a good high fastball.
Here's the aforementioned Kurt Suzuki, who's 1 for 2 tonight. Drew a base on balls in the 1st inning, in the 2nd inning, and a base hit in the 5th inning. Good slider for a strike. And you can pick up a guy in a 1-year contract for $2.75 million who can handle a staff like Suzuki, and the fact that he's hitting over 300 and has driven in 41, that's a very good sign.
Yeah,
that ball hit hard, but Adam Eaton will measure it before he gets to the track, puts it away, and Arcia will coast into third base.
Yeah, that's a going rate for a backup catcher.
You're not kidding. And that's why, although they've talked to him, had some preliminary discussions and want to sign him, when you consider a 300 hitter and a guy who can do what he can do with a pitching staff as good as he is, You're probably talking about the asking price being anywhere from $6 to $7.5 million for a couple of years.
I would say at least that.
Twins down to their last out, and it's Eduardo Nunez, who is 0 for 3. One of the two guys that Chris Sale did not strike out tonight, and he looks at a soft slider for a strike.
That's good. Daniel having control trouble. Just throw that slider in there. Get me over pitch. She mentioned a soft slider. You don't have to ace him.
This the third game of a 7-game trip. We'll play tomorrow afternoon. Head to Detroit, take Monday off, and then face the Tigers for 3. And the Sox trying to win the first 3 games of this series. The first 3 of the road trip. And also improve in the Central. With this win tonight, the Sox will go 21-23 against the Central. Surprisingly, the Twins will still have a winning record against the Central. They'll be 19-18. Threw that fastball right by him inside. So the Twins down to their last strike. Sox have 3 shutouts this year, and it looks like you can make that 4. That's the ball game. Sox win 7-0, and stay with us. We'll be back with more after these messages.